Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most influential books of all time, the Bible. But have you ever stopped to think how it was actually put together? I mean, it's not like it just magically appeared on a golden tablet, right? Alright, first things first. The Bible isn't a single book written by one person. It's more like a library, a collection of diverse writings penned by different authors over centuries. We're talking stories, laws, poetry, prophecies, letters, the whole shebang. Now for the Old Testament, which largely overlaps with the Hebrew Bible, these texts were passed down through oral tradition for generations before finally being written down. Think epic tales told around campfires, eventually finding their way onto scrolls. By around the early centuries BCE, we see the gradual collection of these writings. Fast forward to the New Testament, this focuses on the life, teachings, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ and the early Christian movement. These writings, Gospels, letters from apostles like Paul and other accounts, started circulating in the 1st century CE. Okay, so we have all these different writings floating around. How did they become the Bible? This is where things get really interesting and where those pivotal councils come in. One of the earliest and super important moments was the Council of Jamnia, around 90 CE. Now this wasn't about the Christian Bible yet, but it was a significant gathering of Jewish scholars who, after the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, solidified the canon, the official list of the Hebrew Bible. This canon largely forms the Old Testament that Christians use today. Now let's jump ahead a few centuries to the early Christian church. As Christianity spread, so did various writings about Jesus and his followers. But not all of these writings were seen as equally authoritative. This led to a need to discern which texts truly represented the authentic teachings and traditions. Enter the big leagues, the Christian councils. The Council of Nicaea in 325 CE, while primarily focused on the nature of Christ, also touched upon which writings were considered authoritative. However, it wasn't until later councils that the New Testament canon really began to solidify. Key moments include the Synod of Rome in 382 CE and the Councils of Hippo in 393 CE and Carthage in 397 CE. These councils, primarily in North Africa, are hugely significant because they largely affirmed the 27 books that we now recognize as the New Testament. So what made some books get the golden ticket and others get left out in the biblical cold? There were several key criteria: apostolic authority. Was the book written by an apostle, someone who knew Jesus directly, or a close associate of an apostle? Books like the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and the letters of Paul, held significant weight here. Widespread acceptance. Was the book widely read and respected by the early churches across different regions? If a book was only popular in one small area, it was less likely to be included. Orthodoxy. Did the teachings of the book align with the core beliefs and traditions of the early Christian faith? If a book presented a different understanding of Jesus or key doctrines, it was often rejected. And finally, inspiration. Did the early church believe the book was inspired by the Holy Spirit? This was a more subjective criterion but played a crucial role. Now, what about those books that didn't make the cut? These are often referred to as the Apocrypha for the Old Testament, and various apocryphal Gospels, Acts, and Epistles for the New Testament. These books, while sometimes historically interesting and offering different perspectives, often lack the apostolic authority or widespread acceptance that the canonical books possessed. Some also contain teachings that were seen as diverging from the core Christian message. It's important to remember that the formation of the Bible was a gradual process, involving debate, discernment, and the leading of the early church as they sought to understand and preserve the authentic teachings of Jesus and the Old Testament scriptures. So there you have it. The Bible wasn't just handed down on a stone tablet. It's a collection of writings carefully gathered and affirmed over centuries through the dedicated efforts of religious leaders and communities. It's a testament to the enduring power of these stories and teachings. What are your thoughts on the formation of the Bible? Did anything surprise you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating explorations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.